Thanks for checking out the video. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed the content, please hit like, share, and subscribe. Hello friends and students, let's study the song. We'll go this way. New York Song by AR Rahman. Okay, what we're going to do is spend some time learning this strum pattern from this song. So let's begin, and I hope I will share with you some tips and hints and advice on guitar in general, just not specifically for this song, but that you can apply in other scenarios. Okay, so step one is hopefully you've tuned your guitar. This guitar has a built-in tuner and it works well. So that's one easy hint to sound good, is tune your guitar. Okay, step two, you want to, one easy way again to sound better is to memorize what you're going to do. So in this case, let's begin by memorizing the so-called chord progression. We don't want to have to keep looking at the music or the paper or some printout. Just put it in your head and you will do better. So the first chord is A minor, and then F. I'm using the full sort of bar chord F, then C, and then G. Okay, so the chord progression is 4 measures long: A minor, F, C, G. It's a common progression. Now, what you would want to do is also sort of memorize your strum pattern. So let's talk about some ways to do that. Well, first of all, the term of strum pattern is a bit inaccurate, let's say, because they change the pattern often. So perhaps we should say strum patterns. And sometimes they change it so often that it perhaps should not even be called a pattern. It's just a thing that keeps going and going. But that's very hard to learn and copy and study. So it's a good tool for the beginner to find some sort of pattern to reduce the song down to a pattern. But I'm just suggesting that often the pattern changes when the singer comes in, or it'll change when the drums start to play a certain way, or if at the end of one section of the lyrics the drummer switches his ride cymbal pattern and then the guitar would often switch also, or something like this. So the pattern is a bit of a misnomer, but we have to start somewhere. Well, it's also worth pointing out in this song there's at least 2 different guitars playing, and you can really hear that well when you use the headphones and hear how it's mixed. So I guess in that case, sometimes what we're playing is one guitar's pattern or the others, or some sort of composite of them both, right? Then, so there's a lot of variables at work here, but let's get some certainty now. So one thing to do is just know the pattern. I will put it on the screen for you in terms of notation, and I will suggest that first learn it without your guitar, just with your hands and speaking and the metronome or a drum machine, right? So I will count to 4 and I'll clap this pattern a few times in a row, and I'm going to use some counting methods that help me place all the beats correctly, and also to write it and to reproduce it the same way over and over. And you'll find that these techniques of speaking have a parallel in other languages, such as in Indian styles of music. There's often a rhythmic device called kanokal, right? And this is very similar. It's just what we learn in Western music. So I'll count to 4 and I'll demonstrate. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 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 4. And 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And 2, and 3, and 4. And okay, so that's the basic pattern that I'm going to demonstrate as a strum pattern. And like I said, you'll hear some variations, and there's 2 guitars and etc. But we will use this as our model. So One strategy is to just be able, as I did there, to say it and clap it without your instrument, because that's simpler, and we need to build some sort of accuracy and confidence in this simpler way. Now again, before I get into playing the whole thing, I'm going to do what you might call muted strumming. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I'll talk for a minute about this idea of down and up, and I see it a lot used to help demonstrate guitar, and that's fine, it's useful, but it's very limited language. The down and up strokes have no real value without the rhythmic context of putting them in the field or the spectrum of 1 E enda, 2 E enda, 3 E enda, 4 E enda. So the down and the up is an inferior way to conceptualize these things immediately, but let's talk about it nonetheless. So I'm going down, up, down, down. Now in this case, I'm using a downstroke on the end of beat 2 to help bring out some accent. So that's interesting because you may choose to use an upstroke, but in this case I chose a downstroke for accent purposes. So another device, another strategy for learning these things is to simplify them. In other words, let's just learn beats 1 and 2 of the pattern and not beat 3 and 4. Okay, now at this point I'll introduce a metronome. There it is. And the metronome is your best friend. He will be your best friend eventually. And if you are learning to do rhythms without this, you should probably consider using it. Okay, so I'm just going to do the first half of the strum pattern a few different ways, and I'll also point out that in this case I have slowed the metronome down significantly from the original tempo of the song, which is about 127 beats per minute. That's very fast and difficult to train and to learn at that speed. So here now I am at 90 beats per minute. Okay. Let's start with just this clapping. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and now I'll add some chords. 4. Okay, so now coming after beat 2 is where we have some interesting syncopation, some cooler rhythms. So here I'm just going to clap what we do after beat 3. So listen in slow motion. I'm ignoring beat 1 and 2. I'm focusing just on beat 3. This is another tip or technique or strategy. You don't have to play the whole thing. You can focus in on one small element. That's often very helpful. Okay, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, E and a 4. And 1, 2, 3, E and a 4. And 1, 2, 3, E and a. So you will notice that we don't strike beat 3. We strike after beat 3. And specifically on the E and A of beat 3. 1, 2, 3, E and a 4. 1, 2, 3, E and a. Now if I was going to isolate that and add some muted strumming, I'm going to recommend up, down, up as the method of playing 3 E and a, 3 E and a 4, 3 E and a. So you will see up, down, up is E and a. Okay, 1, 2, ready, listen. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now I'm going to put the metronome back on, and I'm going to play beat 1, 2, and 3 with the strum pattern and the chords. But first let's go muted. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 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 4. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, so we ended with 3 enda. Now we just need to play 4 end. 4 end. A pair of eighth notes on beat 4. So if we put it all together, we will have the full strum pattern. So as I said before, you know, one of the big themes apparently of this lesson is learning these things in smaller segments, piece by piece, analyzing them and understanding them before you put the whole thing together. I'm going to try to put the whole thing together. Of course, it'll sound pretty good, but a little bit slow. Okay, 1, 2, ready, listen. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So that's just my hands. Now I'll do muted strumming. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 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 a 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, a 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, a 2, and 3, and 4, a 2, and 3, and 4, one more, 1, a 2, and 3, and 4, and that was muted strumming. Now I'll add the chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So as you can see, the tempo was reduced to 90 beats per minute. You can play at the speed that is comfortable for you in order to progress to that full tempo of 127 beats per minute. So now, with these items, I hope you'll have the tools to study well and have fun.